let's do the same thing. Let's create some pairs, move around the scene. Actually, open an empty scene first because it will be more performant. Okay, so we opened our new project. I don't want to use any of those blueprint stuff, so I will first open the project settings. So let's change the map to main. This is our empty map, and we will create a game mode first. So, okay, since we will do the game mode, it must be inherited from game mode base. And let's make our prefix for this project X, meaning example. Okay, game mode point. Okay, we created X game mode. Okay, we are good to go. Okay, for Unreal projects, I always be cautious about those versioning stuff because you can easily break the engine, you know. You have to go back. Before anything else, I will just create a branch from the current branch and let's call it here example. Still loading the project. Version these files. Okay. Okay. So we don't do too much for game mode right now. We will just compile the project to check if everything is okay, and then create the blueprint from our custom game mode. So actually, let me open my visual collaboration thing because I want to quickly explain what is this object-oriented stuff. Just a very basic explanation. All right. Okay, so we are always talking about this. In Unity, we always talked about this. This is actually a mono behavior. This our class is derived from mono behavior, and we also say the same thing here. I always say we will create a game mode class, a class derived from game mode, and we will create a blueprint derived from this game mode file. So what derive means? This is some basic object-oriented knowledge, you know. So let me give you a quick example. Vehicle. Okay. So assume we have a vehicle class. We can say each vehicle has top speed, right? It makes sense. And what can we say about a vehicle? Not a car, not a truck, but generally for a vehicle. Engine size. Okay, let's make it float. Okay, engine size. And let's put some methods to this vehicle. Let's assume our vehicle is speed up and brake. What can we say? Fill up, fuel. Okay. Okay, so if we have a fill up fuel method, then I think we also need fuel amount and fuel type. Fuel type and represent different fuel types with integers. Okay, so this is a simple class. So it represents something called vehicle, which from this design we know vehicles have a top speed, an engine size, and fuel amount and fuel type, and each vehicle can speed up, brake, or fill up fuel, right? So we define the data and we define the behavior. We were talking about what derive means, right? Derive. Derive is a verb of the concept inheritance. So parent-child relation, you can call it parent-child relation, you can call it base class, derived class. There are so many jargons about that. Base class, derived class. Let's think about a car. Okay, we can say each car is a vehicle, right? So this is a vehicle which is specialized on some other function. At the end of the day, it's also a vehicle. So let's think about some special stuff about cars, like door count. Let's say number plate. When we think about this, this is almost the same thing with a vehicle, but it has some difference, right? So the car is derived from the vehicle. It has everything that a vehicle has. Okay, we can say the car has the top speed, car has engine size. It is just a special version of vehicle. I mean, if we do another class to here like truck, We will add some other properties and maybe some other behaviors like braking systems, etc. So in summary, car is derived from vehicle. I mean, this is our design, and if we want to do this class in Unity for a script, let's say sphere spawner, we just we write behavior. We usually write something like this, right? This means sphere spawner is derived from mono behavior. So anything you can put into the scene, you use this one. So it's inherited class from mono behavior. So we are doing the same thing in Unreal. In Unreal, we call them actors, right? So if you want to make some actor which has all the actors' abilities but have some other stuff, we just create a new class which derives from actor. Okay, let's call it my actor, and let's see the code how it looks in C++. What is the difference? It's very similar, by the way. Okay, let's open this one. Let's close this. So this is a class called myActor. And if you look here, you will see the same semicolon, right? So it just say, I will design a class which is called myActor, which is actually an actor. So this is almost same thing with mono behavior, right? So our actor is derived from a actor, so it has all the a actor's abilities. So I will go back to our issue. I just created some game mode, right? And in my game mode, I said it derives from game mode base. I will also create a blueprint from it. What? Let me create a folder first. Blueprints. Blueprint class. You know, there are some presets here. It's just doing the same thing. Select from what you will derive your blueprint. So we can say X game mode. So this is our game mode. It has all the game mode's abilities. From this hierarchy, you can see they collapse, right? They are child of the other one. So I can understand from by looking here that there is a base class called object in Unreal Engine, and another class called actor which is derived from object, and another class called info which is derived from actor. Do you see the connection? I mean, this is all object oriented programming stuff. That it has all the abilities of the its base classes. Anyway, let's create our game mode. I will call it XBP game mode. So when I open this game mode and see its class settings, we can see that you see it says parent class. This is another jargon. Parent class, child class. It is same thing with base class, derived class. They are all object oriented jargon. So it says it derives from X game mode. So when I put something to our X game mode class, let's say we just define a variable here, and this is the way of Unreal. If you remember, we were doing something like that in Unity. In Unreal, you just say public, and if you don't say any other thing like private at some point, all the things below this public keyword are public. Okay, and we have to put this UPROPERTY. I will explain it later. And let's say integer maximum sphere count. This one makes sense because we are creating the game mode. Unreal has some specific design. I mean, they already designed something which is common for any game. So when you are doing something in Unreal, you just try to understand the Epic's way of doing games, right? You don't have to create any game mode, but they just give you some guide. If you do this, we prepare some other classes which works just fine with any game mode. So that's why we are using it. Okay, so we define something, a maximum sphere count. When we go back to this blueprint, okay, it's just compiled. So if we open the class defaults, this is where you see the default values of class. So see, now we have maximum spare count here. This is a blueprint which we created. So why do we have this one? Because it is just derived from our X game mode. Can you understand the relationship between them? I mean, anything derived from X game mode which we implemented is actually a game mode. It's almost the same thing with some additional stuff. So if we have this in our base class is EX game mode. Any blueprint derived from will have this same property. But we can change it. Let me show you. So if I do this private and doesn't let to edit and compile again, so it will disappear. But we are waiting for compiling, but it will just disappear because yes, see, we don't see it anymore. Because if you make them private, private is the most private thing, you know. If something is private, anyone except the owner can't reach it. So when I said it is private, it is not even reachable from its childs, okay? But there's another keyword which is something between public and private, which we call protected. So protected means okay, this is somewhat private. This property will be somewhat private, but classes derived from this class, this base class, can still reach it as it's their own private stuff. This is something between public and private. Let's see this one too. Let's make it protected and compile again. Also, let's make it edit anywhere so we can see it. Okay, so see now we can access it. It is not public. Any other one can't access this data, but since this blueprint is derived from our base class, we can access it. So anyway, let's continue with our previous example. We will just try to do same thing that we did on Unity like half an hour ago. So let's put a maximum count of spares. We just use it to explain this game mode stuff. I usually make one more thing before starting any project. That is when you open up the level blueprint is something like a scene controller, you know. There's nothing equivalent in Unity for level blueprints, but it is just manager for the scene. You can use it like this way. So let's check its class settings. It's deriving from LevelScript actor. So it is something written by Unreal Engine. I want these features, but I also want to add some other features to my level. So I need a LevelScript actor, which is my own custom LevelScript actor. So I will create another class which needs to derive from LevelScript actor. Next, and let's call it EX main level. Okay, now we have the X main level, and I think it's compiled. So let's see, it's just deriving from level script actor. In Unreal Engine, they have some weird naming rules. So they put this A themselves. So if you want to do something and if it's an actor, let's open this LevelScript actor. This is written from Epic developers, right? Their own engine thing. When you see it, you will realize it's also derived from actor. And if you go to actor, since we saw it on the interface a couple minutes ago, I can say it is derived from something called object. See? Anyway, this is our level, and in my level, I want to hold something which is related to our level. What can we store about level? Let's think about it. We will create some spares. Okay, we can put some references to actors. Like if you remember what we did on Unity, like we just create something called prefab and drag it to our inspector to create from same class. We can do the same thing here. Let's do it. T shared object. No, what? T object pointer. Yes. T object pointer. A actor. And let's call it sphere. Also, let's make it UPROPERTY and edit element. You should almost always put UPROPERTY to any member variable of Unreal classes because it handles the garbage collection stuff. I mean, they have some optimized way for doing this. If you don't use UPROPERTY and you create some references, some pointers, then it will destroy them randomly. Let's compile it again and we will change this like it will derive from our main level script actor. Okay, just did it. And let's go to class defaults. See, now we have something called sphere and it looks a little bit different. It's not something like an integer. It is like a drop down, right? When you open it, it shows you this. Why? Because it is looking for actors, right? It's looking for actor references. So if we put some spheres or rectangles and cubes, anything to our scene, they will be basically some actors. Let's put this sphere. Okay, so just check the details. It is sphere and you see it says the parent class is actor. It also has another component called static mesh component. We will talk too much about those all those component stuff. Anything you put into an act, if you create some script or let's say you just put sprite renderer to your game object in Unity. What is this sprite renderer? Sprite renderer is a component. You can attach it to any game object. So this is the same thing. It's mesh component, you know. So because since it has a 3D geometry, there is something called static mesh component. It's how it will render this sphere. Anyway, so since we have this sphere on the scene, now we can select it from here. See? So so this is the header file. We will give the definitions of things like we define the data, we define the methods. So I will create a method here which is begin play. This is the same thing from Unity, you know, the start stuff. So it is same thing with start. And let's create this definition. So if you check, we were using main level .hash file, which is a header file, and we have another file called main level .cpp, which includes the header file. So it knows which members it has, which methods it has. So you can reach them from here since you have this include. So for example, if I do this, so if I comment this, it says what is main level. I have no idea what's main level because the definition of main level is here. I have a class, it is from this API, and I call it main level. So it is something very close to using statements on C Sharp, Unity stuff. Okay, so this method will be called when the scene is start. We can test it like this. Log temp warning text scene is started. Let's compile it again. Okay, so when I press play, we should be able to see this log here. Okay. There is also one thing I want to mention. It's also important. So there is an order of things here. I mean, we have this game mode, right? We just defined something called game mode. Let's put a debug statement into this game mode too. So then we can understand which one just instantiated first, right? By the way, this super semicolon stuff is also related to object oriented. This means in this method, just call my parents begin play and then I will do something here. I mean, let's remove it and we can see here that it says base method. So it is a method from base class. This is not here because we just wrote begin play. This was already implemented in the base class. We can check it here. Here, a game mode. Actually, it doesn't have begin play. I mean, my rough guesses. Yeah, it doesn't have. Why? Because it is under a info and there's also a base class a actor and a actor has this begin play, I guess. Yes, it has something related to begin play. So we were trying to understand which one triggers first. Game mode, begin play. Let's also call it level scene. Actually, it's level. Scene is the Unity jargon. Level, begin play. Yeah, you are right. This is not normal C++. Actually, what we do in C Sharp on Unity engine, this is also not normal C Sharp, you know? It's not the usual way of using C Sharp. So there is no normal in game development, I guess. Okay, our stuff is compiled. Let's press play and let's see output log. Okay, I have to clear this because I just can't find. Okay, so this is where our level begin play is called. So where is the game mode starts? Okay, why there's no game mode starts? Ah, it makes sense. Okay, okay. So let's open the project settings. It still uses Unreal's game mode, you know. So Unreal is a bit complicated. So I always put some debug logs, and this just helps me to realize if I miss something. This is a good example for this. When I don't see here my debug log, I say, okay, why my game mode is not instantiated? So we will put our blueprint version of our game mode here. Save it, and let's clear this. Okay, so as you can see, the game mode starts, I mean, begin play code first, and then the level begin play code. This is kind of important because let's say in our levels begin play, we can reach the game mode because we know it's instantiated. So let's ask ChatGPT how can we get the game mode? How can I get game mode in Unreal? Game mode base, yeah. Hmm, hmm. Okay, let's do this. Oops. It doesn't have to be updated for Unreal Engine 5. This game mode stuff is something old. We get the world, which is just another thing we have to talk about, and then get the world's game mode. But as you can see, this is just a pointer to game mode base. So it's not the same thing with our EX game mode, right? But we know that EX game mode is actually a game mode base. So we can cast this to our game mode base. But before that, let's do something. I usually do something like this. Check. This is a macro and it checks if something is true. So it just triggers an error if there is some issues in your code. When you get something with those kind of methods like get game mode, get player, etc., you can put a message here like, whoa, it's null. Does it check for true or false? I don't remember. Unreal Engine check if. Actually, we can call this assertion. Assertion is a general term for this kind of stuff. Like if something happens, just break my program, just halt it, give an error. Yes, check if expression. Hmm. First one. Okay. It halt the execution when the parameter is false. Then we must check this one because if you can't find the game mode, then you must give us an error because we don't have to try anything with null values, right? So let's compile it again. Okay, compile complete. Let's press play. Okay, since the engine is not crashed, we can say there's no problem. So we have this game mode at this point. So now we can cast it to our EX game mode. Okay, our class was EX game mode and we will use a pointer of it, game mode, and cast game mode base. What was that part? Yeah, my game mode. So we will cast this one to, no, we should change the type, right? Okay. So take this one, turn this, convert this into this one, and now we have this pointer. So let's also check if something wrong with that. If game mode. Okay, let's compile it. But it does hallucinate. Is it succeeded or? I guess so. Otherwise, we would hear some annoying sound. Okay, let's press play. Okay, still nothing goes wrong. So at this point, I remember I didn't version anything. So I don't want to do this because it is really dangerous if you are working with Unreal Engine. So let's send our change to versioning. We implemented game mode class. This will increase your salary if you write some fancy things. Main level is converted into C++. Anyway, let's commit and push it. I meet some people which literally does anything but writes great commit messages. So you should know how to write some commit message. Okay, so since there's nothing goes wrong here, our game mode has some data, right? We call it maximum sphere count, but it is protected. We can't reach it this way. So let's write a method which returns the maximum sphere count. It's a bit silly, but we are just experimenting, right? So our method will return integer, and let's call it get maximum sphere count. It doesn't take any argument because we already have this data. Just return maximum sphere count. Okay. Now you should be able to reach it. So let's try to log it. Log temp warning text. Sphere count for this level is maximum percentage d, and let's put our game mode and get maximum sphere count. So this is called formatting. Tries to find decimal on the right side, or digit. So it just looks for the first argument and just try to format it into some digits. We can do the same thing with int a. So if I put, let's say here, I will put another formatting keyword here. So now it will search for two arguments, and first argument will be, let's make it our integer a. So it will just write 64 somewhere, which means nothing for our application, and then it will debug our real maximum sphere count. So let's give it a try. See, now we are able to reach our maximum sphere count, which is for this level 20. Because why? Because we created our level from our LevelScript. Sorry, we are reaching this number from game mode, right? Because we implemented something called X game mode and derived the current blueprint game mode from it. So we can reach it from our main level, which also has some script. So if you just use blueprint, you can't convert it to C++. But let's say at the moment you want to do everything on blueprint, but just create its C++ code first. Don't write any single line of code, okay? Just put the empty C++ code related to this blueprint and create your blueprint from this. You will thank me later, because sometimes blueprint is just not enough. For example, if you want to develop some multiplayer stuff, you can't make a multiplayer game with blueprint. I will start doing that with my next project. Yeah, just do it. Naughty Dog gave up their multiplayer game project. Multiplayer really costs some extra time. And if you let me share some experience. There is two things you should consider at the very beginning of a project. One is localization. I mean, if you want to make something multi-language, you should start with that mindset. And the second one is multiplayer. Otherwise, any code you wrote is just trash. You will write it again for multiplayer. Everyone wants to make a multiplayer game. Almost everyone doesn't know how to make it well. I agree. For example, I don't know. Uh, on my previous project, I was working in a VR game which has some combat stuff, and most of the code is changed because of multiplayer. The guy came and said, Okay, we must re-implement this and that because it just not okay with our multiplayer implementation." So I have no idea. I never did any multiplayer project, but we can do, I guess, since we have internet connection, Google and ChatGPT, we can do it. Is localization easy to add in Unreal Unity? In Unity, there's no built-in localization support. Either you have to implement yours, or you have to buy some assets. Uh, my first indie game was text-heavy RPG, you know, and we find a Chinese publisher. So they the first thing they asked was, "Do you have localization support or not?" And we said, "No, yeah, but yeah, we can implement it." And they instantly changed the terms of the publishing. You know, okay. This question has another part. Yes, in Unreal, it's really easy. I mean, compared to anything because it's built-in. Uh, if you use Unreal's ftext, I I guess it was ftext. Let's give it a try. So okay, we define something in main level and call it ftext. I will show you how it is easy in Unreal. If you are creating some string which will be seen by your player, you know, from the user, you must define it as ftext instead of string because it has built-in support for localization. Let's see. You see this, my text is added here as we did before, and here there is a flag. So if you press the flag, there's a checkbox like localize. So you just yes, you have to write something here, but I can't write now. I have no idea why. Is it because okay, I may yes, we probably need to hold this data somewhere. But at the end of the day, you just give a namespace like UI localization and set a key like welcome message, you know. Then just produce huge file that you can add different languages easily. Yeah, it's connected to a string table, but I don't remember how to create a string table right now. Let's try. How can I create a string table in Unreal for localization? Open the editor, create a new string table. It's just so straightforward. In content browser, right click, choose miscellaneous. In content, is that content browser? What? Sorry, content browser is this one. Okay, right click. Uh, where's that? Miscellaneous, yes. And string table. Okay, okay, we have string table. Can we assign this one? No. Why? Why? Hmm. Maybe we need those attributes to be same like package name space key sort. Okay, yeah, I'm just tired. But you got the idea. So it's easy to localize Unreal Engine. It just creates you some uh, file like SCV that you can send your translators and just import it to game. You know. Thanks a lot. Looking forward to going over the recordings in March. Yeah, good. I'm happy to hear that. Okay, goodbye. Have a good night or whatever time zone you are. Okay, bye bye.